Edward Norton has never been one to chase trends or trade on his good looks. From the moment he arrived on the scene with his startling performance in Primal Fear, it was clear he was chasing something more elusive: truth.
Tell me the truth! Don't lie to me! You little fuck, you did it! You killed him! You son of a bitch! You fucking killed him!
No! What the hell you want from me now? Quit your crying!
Whether he was playing an altar boy with a dark secret, a reformed skinhead in American History X, or a disillusioned office worker in Fight Club, Norton approached each role like a detective, searching for emotional honesty.
The only thing that he wants is he wants the film to be a performance. And I think that it is an excellent one.
That seriousness didn't come from nowhere. Over the years, Norton has been open about the actors who shaped him, inspired him, and in many ways set the standard he holds himself to.
What Marlon Brando was for Bob's generation, he's undoubtedly been for mine.
It's no surprise that Robert De Niro appears at the top of Norton's list. For actors of Norton's generation, De Niro was more than just an influence. He was the benchmark. Norton has called him the greatest actor of my lifetime, and often speaks about the almost forensic way De Niro approached his roles in the 1970s.
He's just like a methodical, note-taking, research.
For Norton, De Niro's work in films like Taxi Driver, The Deer Hunter, and Raging Bull isn't just impressive, it's transformative. What he did in those roles, Norton said, wasn't acting in the traditional sense, he dissolved into them. That word, dissolved, captures something key about Norton's view of De Niro. In his eyes, De Niro made himself invisible, removing all traces of himself to let the character take over. Norton has often described that as the holy grail of acting. It's the opposite of self-expression, he said. It's self-erasure. When Norton finally got the chance to work with De Niro in the score, it was a significant moment. Not just professionally, but emotionally.
I think that's you trying to talk me into taking a sucker's share on a score that I set up from the beginning.
He spoke later about how surreal it felt to act opposite someone he'd idolized for so long. I had to really fight to stay present, he admitted, because half of me was just watching him, the way I had been since I was a teenager. The dynamic between them in the score was also telling. De Niro played the seasoned professional, while Norton was the ambitious young thief, mirroring their real-life relationship. It was almost too perfect, Norton said. Here I was, trying to prove myself to my hero, both in the story and on the set. But Norton wasn't just fanboying, he also took notes. Watching Bob work up close, he explained, you see how meticulous he is. He never overplays, he always undercuts the moment, gives it tension, and he listens, really listens. It's like he's still discovering things in the take.
He's meticulous and serious, and I really enjoyed working with him.
De Niro's subtlety left a lasting impression. Norton has said that after working with him, he became more restrained in his own choices. There's this temptation as an actor to show everything, he noted, but Bob taught me that suggestion is often more powerful than expression. If De Niro was the gold standard for transformation, Dustin Hoffman offered Norton something different, a model for intelligence in acting.
I want the credit. The credit. Do you know what the New York Times said about my last picture? They call it a thrill ride for the ages, but they didn't mention the producer.
Norton has said that watching Hoffman perform was like seeing someone think in real time. That quality, internal, cerebral, always slightly on edge, spoke to Norton's own instincts. Hoffman's influence goes back to Norton's theater days in New York, when he'd watch old clips of The Graduate, Midnight Cowboy, and Kramer vs. Kramer. What struck me about Hoffman, Norton once said, was that he didn't look or act like the traditional leading man, and yet you couldn't take your eyes off him. It wasn't just that Hoffman made space for unconventional actors, it was the way he made that space through sheer intelligence and precision. Norton found inspiration in Hoffman's commitment to detail. He was like a scientist, Norton said. Every line, every movement was calibrated. In interviews, Norton has often drawn parallels between Hoffman and himself. Both were theatre trained, both broke through playing outsiders, and both have reputations, deserved or not, for being exacting on set. Norton doesn't shy away from that comparison. "I'd rather be difficult in the pursuit of something real than easy and forgettable," he once said, echoing sentiments Hoffman has voiced in his own career. What Norton seems to value most in Hoffman is his refusal to compromise. Even when Hoffman clashed with directors, it was always in the service of the work. "He cared deeply," Norton said. "You can feel that in every performance. There's a vulnerability there, but also a steeliness." Norton has also praised Hoffman's range, from the fragile innocence of Benjamin Braddock to the gruff weariness of Ray Babbitt in Rain Man. "He could make you laugh and break your heart in the same scene," Norton observed, "and that's rare." When asked once which actors gave him hope when he was starting out, Norton didn't hesitate. "Dustin was one of the first. He made me feel like there was room for actors like me, actors who don't fit the mold."
Are you that secure as an actor that when you read a character that you know, okay, I can do this?
No, not at all. I mean, in fact, I think that part of what's a good indicator if I want to do something is if it makes me a little bit nervous. You know, if reading this, getting the balance of a character who pretends to be someone else who has sort of an affliction, you know, it's a little touchy.
If De Niro was the model of internalization and Hoffman the champion of thoughtfulness, then Al Pacino offered Norton a different kind of inspiration altogether: fire.
"Let me assure this court that I am through walking on the wild side."
Pacino's early performances in films like Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon, and the Godfather trilogy were explosive, electric, and deeply human. For Norton, those performances were like watching someone on the verge of combusting. He's described Pacino as the most theatrical of the great American film actors, and he doesn't mean that as a criticism, quite the opposite. Al showed that you could bring that intensity from the stage into the frame, Norton explained. He didn't shrink himself to fit the camera, he expanded the frame to hold him. That sense of theatricality struck a chord with Norton, who trained at Yale and spent years doing theatre before moving into film. "There's something operatic about Al," he said, "but it's never fake. It comes from a place of real anguish." Norton also credits Pacino with teaching him about rhythm. "Al understands the music of a scene," he once noted. "He knows when to pause, when to explode, when to let the silence do the work." But it's not just technique that Norton admires, it's Pacino's willingness to be messy. "There's this fearlessness in him," Norton said. "He'll go right to the edge of chaos and then pull it back. That's what makes him great." Pacino's influence can be felt in some of Norton's most impassioned performances, particularly American History X. "I watched Dog Day Afternoon about 100 times, Norton admitted. "There's a vulnerability in Al's performance that's just devastating. You root for him even when he's making terrible choices." In Norton's view, Pacino carved out a space where emotional volatility wasn't just tolerated, but valued. "He made it okay to feel too much," Norton said, "and for actors like me, that was liberating." If Pacino was the fire, then Denzel Washington was the discipline.
"No, sir, I do not concur and I do not recognize your authority to relieve me under command under Navy regulations."
Norton has referred to Washington as the best actor working in the business today, and the admiration runs deep. What Norton seems to respect most is Washington's command, of the screen, of his body, of his choices. "He never misses," Norton once said. "He's like a great athlete who's also a poet." Unlike the other actors on Norton's list, Washington didn't come up through the New York underground. He trained at the American Conservatory Theatre and built his reputation gradually, from television roles in the 1980s to lead performances in Malcolm X, Philadelphia, and Training Day. Norton has said he was blown away by Washington's portrayal of Malcolm X, calling it one of the great performances of all time. There's also a mutual respect between the two actors. While they haven't worked together on screen, Norton has said he'd jump at the chance. "Denzel is the kind of actor who raises everyone's game," he explained. "You can't fake it when you're opposite him. He won't let you." What Norton seems to draw most from Washington is a sense of moral gravity. "He brings weight to everything he does," Norton said. "Even in a popcorn thriller, he carries this sense of purpose." He's also impressed by Washington's consistency. "He's been doing this at the highest level for decades," Norton noted, "and he's still getting better. That's not luck, that's discipline." In interviews, Norton has highlighted Washington's ability to be both subtle and powerful. He never overstates, he just occupies the space, he said, and somehow that's enough. Norton has also pointed to Washington's background in stage acting as a key reason for his command. You can tell he's built for the long haul, he said. There's a sturdiness to his work. He doesn't burn out, he builds. If De Niro taught Norton about minimalism, Hoffman about thoughtfulness, and Pacino about emotional scale, then Washington showed him how to unite them all with clarity. He's the complete package, Norton said. Watching Denzel is a reminder that great acting isn't about showing off, it's about showing up every time.